Hello, this is Justin Doe, and today I'll be providing an oral review on Rob Zombie's movies. Now, first and foremost, Rob Zombie is a heavy metal singer, but he is also a filmmaker. His wife, Sherry Moon Zombie, is an actress. She is the one you see in all of his movies. Together, Rob Zombie and Sherry Moon Zombie are one heck of a team. Let's start with the Firefly trilogy, which consists of House of a Thousand Corpses, The Devil's Rejects, and Through from Hell. Now, House of a Thousand Corpses, I feel like that movie would be an experience all by itself. You start at Captain Spaulding's gas station, you ride the murder ride, you get the directions to the house, you meet baby Firefly, you meet her family, etc., etc. Now, I'm not talking about these hard attractions where they jump out and scare you. I'm saying that plot line's the movie taking place from the point of view of the victims would be the experience exactly. Now, let's move on to The Devil's Rejects. Now, this movie is more like a crime movie to me than a horror movie because this movie takes place at the point of view of the psychotic killers rather than the victims. Not to mention, the antagonist of this movie is the county sheriff, John Quincy Wydell, because Mother Firefly killed his older brother, George Wydell, during the first movie. Now, Through from Hell, I would also consider this a crime movie. This movie also takes place in the point of view of the psychotic killers. In this movie, this is where Captain Spaulding, Otis, and Baby are treated from their injuries from the shootout from the second movie. This is also where Otis and Baby break out of prison while Captain Spaulding is executed by lethal injection. When they flee to Mexico, the antagonist of this movie is Aquarius, the son of Rondo, one of the bounty hunters from the second movie that helped capture Captain Spaulding, Otis, and Baby. Yeah, Aquarius has a vendetta towards the family because Otis killed Rondo at the beginning of Through from Hell during his escape with the help of his half-brother Foxy Coltrane. One thing I forgot to mention is Baby's personality versus Otis's personality. Now, Baby's got two different personalities here. There's one where she's like this cute little kitten where she wants to curl up in your lap and purr, and then there's the other where she becomes like a feral cat where she starts hissing and clawing at you. Otis, on the other hand, is a full-blown ferocious panther through and through. I was a little kid at the times of the releases of House of a Thousand Corpses and The Devil's Rejects. Those movies would have been considered inappropriate. Rob Zombie's remakes of Halloween and Halloween 2 are based on the movies written and directed by John Carpenter, released in 1978 and 1981 respectively. The idea of this movie is Michael Myers, as a kid, murders his older sister and then gets admitted to the mental institution where he would break out of and then wreak havoc all over the fictional town of Haddonfield, Illinois, with Dr. Loomis in pursuit of him. Rob Zombie's remake of Halloween gets more in-depth into Michael Myers' descent into madness. Now, here's my perspective on Rob Zombie's remake of Halloween. During the kitchen scene, Deborah and Ronnie, they fight like little kids. It's as if there were truly no adult in the house. Meanwhile, Angel's like, "Oh, how lovely. Go ahead and wallow in your bickering while my breakfast sits there unprepared." I apologize if my impression of Stewie Griffin is bad. Rob Zombie's remake of Halloween 2 is quite different from the original movie released in 1981. The original movie takes place entirely at the hospital. In the remake, the hospital is part of the movie, but in the remake, Laurie Strode does get treated for her injuries, but when Michael Myers pursues her, it was a dream. Laurie Strode is also different in the theatrical cut versus the director's cut. In the theatrical cut, Laurie Strode is shown to be having a lot of restraint, holding it together. In the director's cut, she's like a powder keg ready to explode. One wrong move, and it's the attacks on Hiroshima and Nagasaki all over again. Kaboom! No survivors. Now, about Sherry Moon Zombie in both of these movies. In general, she looks like she's in her 20s. In Halloween 1 and 2, she looks more like an older sister taking care of her younger siblings than she does a mother taking care of her children. I was a kid at the times of the releases of Halloween and Halloween 2. Both movies would have been considered inappropriate. Now let's talk about 31. Overall, 31 seems like an adaptation of a video game where Wave 1 is Sick Head, Wave 2 is Psycho Head and Schizo Head, Wave 3 is Sex Head and Death Head, and the boss wave is Doom Head. During that scene with Sick Head, there's a lot of Spanish being exchanged between Charlie and Sick Head. So I'm like, ¿Dónde está el pulsador de SAP on el control remoto? Yo necesito un translation in inglés, por favor. No hablo español. I was a teenager at the time of the release of 31. This movie would have been considered inappropriate. Now, on to the haunted world of El Superbeasto. At first, I rooted for Dr. Satan because he found himself a girl and was going to marry her, but then I realized it was for the sake of world domination. And also, there's a flashback to where Dr. Satan, real name Stephen Wachowski, takes a liking to Susie X, and El Superbeasto gives him a wedgie because of it. In the current timeline, I saw this as a continuation of their high school rivalry. In general, this movie is giving Adult Swim and Cartoon Network. This is the only movie where I hear Sherry Moon Zombie use the P word. And metaphorically, Susie X is Baby Firefly with a jumpsuit and an eye patch. I was a kid at the time of the release of The Haunted World of El Superbeasto. This movie would have been considered inappropriate. Now let's talk about the monsters. Unlike every other Rob Zombie movie, this one was rated PG. I listened to the soundtrack before I watched this movie, and let me tell you right now, Sherry Moon Zombie has a great singing voice. She should showcase more of her singing. Last but not least, let's talk about Lords of Salem. Now, before I talk about Lords of Salem, let's talk about the Salem Witch Trials. The Salem Witch Trials took place in 1692 during colonial America. Over 200 people were accused, 30 people were convicted, and 19 of the 30 convicted were hanged. The other 30 were imprisoned. In The Lords of Salem, Margaret Morgan and her coven of 6 were burned. The Lords of Salem is a ghost movie just like The Conjuring and The Shining. The Lords of Salem does not have a serial killer, let alone a body count of 3 or more, so I would consider this a thriller movie. Now, let's talk about my favorite scenes in Lords of Salem. Let me preface this by saying, if there was an award for best duo or trio in all of Rob Zombie's movies, it would go to Heidi and Troy. Troy is a golden retriever. If I wanted a dog, the size of the dog would be greater than or equal to that of a golden retriever. My expectations with canine co-stars are the same. It has to be greater than or equal to that of a golden retriever. Usually I wait to the end to say if I like the movie or not. But the minute I saw Troy with Sherry Moon Zombie's co-star, I immediately said, I like it already. I was a preteen at the time of the release of The Lords of Salem. This movie would have been considered inappropriate for me. These reviews were not intended to slander or defame any persons living or dead involved in Rob Zombie's movies. I am Justin Doan, and these have been my reviews on Rob Zombie's movies. Thank you for listening.